One point that I did want to address was the minute maths that went home at the weekend. I appreciate that they weren't at the levels that the children had ended on in year 2, but we were waiting on the information, the transfer information, the numbers, and we had chosen topics that were consolidating the working class. We have the information now, so this Friday they should be carrying on where they left off, just so that you are aware. Annabelle, are you ready to start with the presentation?
Yes, I am. I'm also going to record just so that if anybody can't make tonight, they also, it's already recorded. Amazing. Just in case anyone who can't make it. So I'm going to present my screen. Hopefully this will work. Okay, I'm still getting some notifications. Here we go. So like Sharon has already said, we're having a lovely time in year 3 at the moment. The children are really enjoying themselves and getting really stuck in to the lessons, which is amazing to see. As you know, 3SR, we have Mrs. Ridsdale, and here is Sharon's contact email in case you haven't got it already. And then there's my contact email on there too. So that's a useful screen. There's also, obviously, we don't teach some of the subjects. So there's computing, drama, art, PE, and music. There's contact details for those teachers if you need them. Sometimes it's easier to contact them directly, but if you can't do that, then you can always email us and we will forward it on to the relevant teacher. And then we've got the house parents' contact details there as well.
Those, Annabelle, aren't they there for more pastoral things? So if you've lost any kids or anything that they can help you with, if you want to get in touch with them or you just want to have a chat about how things are going, they're happy to listen and be in touch with you and email. They're quite regularly upstairs when we have registration up in junior forms in the morning, and they're sort of milling around, aren't they, coming in and saying hi to the children. So, and having their house times in the morning too, which the children are really enjoying.
We've also got the weekly overview. We do get the children to write these into their prep diaries every Monday. So we are reminding them to make sure that they look in their prep diaries the night before so that they've definitely got the right things for the next day. So on Monday, we've got the games kit. We've also put to remind to bring in their spare kit as well, just in case it is raining. So they've got a spare dry mid layer to put on so they're not sat cold in the afternoon after their games lesson, because they do go out if it's raining, whatever weather it is, they do go out and play games. So we need to make sure that they do have their spare kit. Tuesday, they have PE. It's on a 4-weekly rota, isn't it, Sharon?
Yeah, it is. I'm actually going to dive down and find out what they changed to next week. So you keep talking and I'm going to go and find out.
Okay. On a Wednesday, again, like Monday, games kit again, plus the spare kit. Thursday is Forest School kit. So it's a non-branded coat, waterproof trousers, wellies. When it gets a bit colder, maybe a gilet or something a little bit warmer to go on top of their mid layer underneath their coat. Friday doesn't really apply to year 3 at the moment, but they do have their Friday challenge in the afternoon, which they're really enjoying. At the moment, none of the challenges involve having to bring in anything extra, but they might do after October half term, depending on which challenge your child chooses. And then we also have the music lessons and speech and drama lessons. The times are up in Rickaby, but we also make sure that the times are recorded in the classrooms as well. So the children can check the board to see when their music lessons are, but we do encourage them to write it in their prep diaries on a Monday so that they know when their times are in the week. Then we've got the daily equipment. So the children are bringing in their book bag and taking it home every day. And the reason why we encourage them to take their book bag home every day is so that they've got their prep diary at home to check what they need the next day. And also they've got their reading book on them as well, because we're encouraging them to read at home as much as possible. And then their pencil case and their water bottle daily as well.
Annabelle, I have just been down. So as of next Tuesday, so tomorrow mine are still doing swimming and yours are doing tennis, aren't they? Yeah. But as of the week of the 5th of October, my class are doing 3 weeks of tennis and your class, so 3AE, will be doing 3 weeks of swimming.
Okay.
So that's what it's changing to. So just so that your parents are aware.
Okay.
The other thing about the reading is, and most of you are doing this, but if you could record with the children when you've read with them and put it in the diary so we can keep an eye on how much they're reading and the progress they're making, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. I have said to a few of mine, have you been reading at home? And they've said, yes, I have. They just haven't written it down.
Yeah.
So this is on prep now. Maths, we're encouraging them to make sure that they practice their times tables as much as possible at home. Now, tomorrow we're going to give them their times table Rockstars login. So that's I don't know if they used it in the pre-prep, but it's a really fun website which they can use to practice their times tables, practice their recall, and get a bit speedier at their times tables. And it has the related division facts as well. So that's really helpful. And then on a Friday, it's their appropriate minute maths worksheet that they'll be sent home with to practice at the weekend as well. And then, like Sharon's already said, reading as much as possible and recording it in their prep diary. They also have an art book. Now, this is optional, but we thought that we would let you know, just so that there isn't any confusion. Sharon, do you know, you've talked to Lucy about it, haven't you?
Yeah, Lucy hasn't talked to them about it as yet. But she will do next week. It's just a black book where they give a weekly task. So it just helps to develop their art skills. So if the children wish to take one, they just tell Mrs. Sutherland that they'd like to take one, and then they bring it home. They complete the task, hand it back in, and then they get feedback weekly, which is really lovely. I can just see there that we've got, should we know the times tables, all of them by now? No, it just depends really. By now, we would expect them to know their 2s, 5s, and 10s. And then in year 3, we expect them to know their 3s, 4s, and 6s. And depending on their ability, we then drive them on. So we do a test every Friday morning in school. So the children should know this week whether or not, which times table they're on, whether it's multiplication or division or both. And then we'll test them, and then we'll tell them for the week ahead what they're learning. We don't do weekly spelling lists in year 3. What we do is we have a buffer session. And what we've planned to do with ours is that we teach them a spelling rule, and then we discuss the rule, and then they use it with various activities, and then we do handwriting practice with them, and then we assess their progress that way. So we don't send them home like they did in the pre-prep. No.
More of a literal and often approach, hopefully.
Yeah, and seeing it in their work, really. We're looking to see whether they're able to use those spelling rules in context, and talking to them about them constantly, having them up on the display in the classroom. And then getting them to complete crosswords or writing them themselves or talking to each other and making up stories using them. So, yeah.
And we've also put down there that we will sometimes set an occasional exciting project. So that's something which might be a bit more creative, but if they do have a project to complete, we will make sure that they write it in their prep diaries so that they know that they have to complete it, and we'll say the due date as well, so that you know when it's due in.
We'll also email the parents with the details too. Yeah. Send out a lovely letter with plenty of notice to let you know that it's coming. And usually we try and give you a half term to get it done too. So you've got a little bit of time, or over a weekend. We'll never do one that it's overnight. You'll have plenty of time to have a think about it and get it done.
Yes. Oh, and I think, unless my computer has frozen. Nope, it's fine. Yeah, that's everything, Sharon. So I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that ends the presentation that we had. I'm wondering if there are any more questions, if anybody would like to type them up, and I'll and we'll respond to them if you have any more questions. If not yet, anyway. Yeah, just before we sort of come off, I just want to just say how amazing the children have been. I mean, that first week I went downstairs to the cars and I fully expected to be down there for a week. And within 2 days, the children were confident and happy to be coming into the classroom and doing everything that they needed to be doing. And that was amazing. There is a class WhatsApp. I'm not sure who is your class rep for the class WhatsApp. I think it might be Poppy Rafferty's mum, might be Mrs. Rafferty. I might be wrong. Should they record all their reading in the prep diary or just what they do? No, just what they do with you. Just what they do with you would be really nice. If you could make a comment, if their comprehension has been really good, or if there are particular words that they've struggled with, if you could add those things in, because then we can talk to them about them when they come in and talk about, oh, it is Mrs. Rafferty, look, it's just come up. So we can talk about the words and their comprehension with them when we're reading with them together as well. Should they know the times tables by now? No, 2s, 5s and 10s, we would really love them to have with division and multiplication. And then the 3s, 4s and 6s, they should be doing is the expectation for year 3. And if they've got those, we push them on to the 7s, 8s and 9s and 11s and 12s, etc. And then what we do is we challenge them. So they get 3 minutes to answer a set of questions. And then last year I had somebody who could use their times tables proficiently. So I set them a challenge for up to 100 questions in the 3 minutes, just so that they're keeping the skills live, really. Will they be getting more homework? Seems like minute maths and reading for now. No, that is it for the moment. Sometimes we send some spag home to support what we're doing in the class, but for now it's reading and minute maths. We'll also, once we set up the My Maths accounts as well, the My Maths will come home as a homework too, but we're not able to get into the computer rooms currently. So once we get onto those systems, we'll set up their My Maths accounts and they'll also get My Maths homework as well. We're hoping that all the computer testing will be done by half term and we can get started then. This says a soft copy of the curriculum documents being sent to you. Mums who can't get onto this call, very anxious to know how they access the recording. Okay, well, the boarding house doing this with Helena. Doing the homework, Mrs. Clark, yes. They should be, yes. Yeah. That should all be going on in their prep sessions in the evening in the house, in Wilton House. Jonathan, are you aware how they might be able to access the recording? Will they be sent a link? Will the parents be sent a link?
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Yeah, it's Jonathan Gould here. Yes, I'm liaising with Katie Zan tomorrow to look at that. It may be that it's best put on the parent portal part of the school website. The file will just be far too large for us to email to everybody. But that's the plan. We'll make sure that everyone knows where it is, either those of you who are in the meeting now and those who haven't been able to attend.
Google Classroom for homework is something that Annabelle and I have both discussed. And I think possibly it is a way that we might be able to send some homework out. I think it will be a mixture between the two, but we'll make it very clear. If we're putting it on Google Classroom, we'll make sure everybody has the information and the links to do that, but not something that we're looking at right now. It will just come home in a folder if we're sending things home for the children to complete and then they can send back. Could any of these type of online meetings be announced? Oh, bless. Oh. If you have missed anything and you want to have a chat with us, of course, you can always email us and we can meet with you in the morning. I've had a couple of walk and talks with some parents, just worked quite well, meeting at 8 o'clock. But yeah, if you have any more questions that you can't think of right now, please get in touch. I think that's the other thing I want to reiterate to you is that communication is so vital. And we keep saying to the children, we can't help you if we don't know there's a problem. And we keep talking to them about how important it is for them to communicate with each other as well, that if they're enjoying something or not enjoying something, that they can talk it through and listen to each other. And that also works for us too. That our lines of communication are always open. And if there is an issue, we're very happy to listen and see if we can help. So please feel free to keep in touch, keep communicating. But we are really thrilled with what the children are doing. They're working really hard and making excellent progress. So thank you. So I think if that's it for everybody, I think we'll log out. If that is. Oh, quick question. Yes, Mr. Walker. Please, could you explain the second page in the prep diary? I don't have one with me. The one with the grid, is that the one with has it got English and maths on the top, like a little boxes, like 100 square? If it's that one, that's their credits. So if they get credits in their classrooms, we write them in there and then we put them online so the children get them. So they get counted up so that we give them certificates. So if they get 25 credits, they get a certificate from us in the classroom. If they get a 50, that also gets given to them. It could be given to them in the house. And then the hundreds and the 150, they get their credits given to them. The certificate gets given to them in the headmaster's assembly. They get academic credits. These are for academic credits. So these ones are just for good work, great effort, great cooperation in class, anywhere that we're really thrilled with what they're doing. If they've been looking at the success criteria that we set them, making sure that they're ticking it off, rising to a challenge, we might give it to them for all of those, but they're all academics. Then they have the golden credits, which is on another page where we record it when they're given something pastoral. So if they've been a really good friend, or they've been looking out for others, or they've been helpful to somebody, then they get golden credits given and then they're emailed to you. The different categories on the grid, I think there's music, geography, science, French. The others are, say, for example, if I was giving one in form time for somebody who had participated well in a form time, I'd put my initials into one of the other categories. And then the children collect them. And then when they get their next diary in the Lent term, we then transfer them over and they keep counting. So if they got 67 in this term, then we would keep counting, and then they'd be trying to aspire to 100 or 150 or even 200 sometimes. It depends on how keen they are to collect them. So yes. It says, now, if any reason we're asked to isolate, will you send homework home? Okay, Mr. Walker, that's a good question. Actually, what will happen is that you'll get emailed by the office, and the office will send you the details. You'll be asked to use a waiting room for 2 days, because if you're waiting on a test result, we've got a waiting room full of activities for you to complete in those 2 days. And if you're having to then isolate for longer, we will start uploading the children's work for them to complete. And Annabelle and I were saying that we would get together on a Wednesday and have a live meeting with the children at that point, so we can discuss the work and how they're getting on, and check in with them with a live Google Meet such as this. But yeah, the office will contact you with all the details, put you into a waiting room for 2 days. And then if you're having to isolate for longer, we then would set you up with a Google Classroom and invite you to that classroom and put the lessons on there. And then you'd complete those. My pleasure. Yeah, good. Thanks, everyone. There's some really good questions there. When are the flu jabs? I actually don't know the answer to that question, because I know that the forms have been coming in. Oh, there you are. Thank you, Mrs. Rafferty. 8th of October. Thank you. Thank you. So that's next Thursday. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, thanks, everyone. This has been really super. Some really great questions. Again, if you need to ask any more, please just get in touch. And yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.